In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this adorable little shelf stand using Dollar Tree products. So if you're curious about it and want to learn how, well then follow me. What's up, Glue Dots? I'm Elaine the Midnight Crafter, and I am so excited about today's video because it's an adorable little shelf stand. I'm using it in my kids' bathroom, but you can use it anywhere. And it's made with all Dollar Tree products, and it came out so much nicer than I even expected it to. So I can't wait to show it to you. But first, before we do that, I would love if you subscribe to my channel by hitting that subscribe button down below and the bell next to it. And when you hit the bell, it will inform you every time I upload a new video. Also, if you like my videos, give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment because I love hearing from you. A big thank you to my friends at Skillshare for sponsoring this video today. If you're not familiar with Skillshare, it's an online community that has over 25,000 different classes on different topics. So if you're someone who wants a little extra help with technology, or maybe you have some things you'd like to learn about business or culinary or even some type of different craft things. I found a video the other day that had teaching how to do the beautiful brush strokes that we see on some of these neat signs that people make. Anyway, the first 500 of my subscribers that click the link down below will get 2 months free to try out Skillshare and see how you like it. Now, I don't get paid anything extra if you try it out, so I'm not recommending it for that reason, but I do want you to give it a try. There's a lot of people that may want to do that, so get there first because there's only 500 spots available. If you're not one of the first 500 that clicks that link down below, well, no worries, because Skillshare is really affordable. At less than $10 a month, you can have access to learn all this cool stuff too. So I think at this point right now, what you guys want to see is this project. So I think we should get to this video. Here we go. As always, you know I like to start out with anything that needs to be painted, so it gives us some time for that to dry. So we're going to take all 3 of our art pieces. If you like the color on the side of them, don't paint the sides, but I'm going to be painting all 3 of mine completely. Okay, so I'm actually gonna wrap my second one. I did the first one, maybe learned some things that I could do a little better to make it easier to show you guys. Leave enough that it not only comes up the side of your artwork piece, but that it will go to the inside so that it will not only look nice, but it will fold easier. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave 2 inches extra on each of the sides. All right, so I just realized I had no sound on that whole part that I just did. Basically, let's see if I can explain this now to you. What I did is, here's the corner that was there. What I did basically is cut off diagonally from, this is where your artwork would be. And all I did is cut off diagonally. It would be basically 1.5 inches this way. So you're going to be cutting off so that you have 3 full squares that you're cutting off basically. Cut off that diagonal piece, and once you do, then the one that's left here, your little half square, your triangle, you're just going to cut upwards and then cut off that little piece as well. I hope that makes sense. If you then are confused, get one, cut one. If you can get one cut well, then go and just use this as a template to cut all the way around on your other sides. But this is what's going to give us the nicest corners, and holy moly, I tried, this is my 3rd one, and I wanted to find a way that was going to look really nice for our project here. So, and hopefully to be not too confusing. So here we go. I'm going to start peeling away part of this and lay down my artwork here, my box frame, so that I can get it on there without getting too many bubbles. So I'm going to use my little grid lines here that came on this paper, which is so great. And there we go. Now I'm going to turn it over, press out all the bubbles, and peel away the paper backing slowly and keep pressing the bubbles out. This is the easy part. It's the it's darn corners that gave me grief. But you know, I figure, I know there's ways to do it, and I'm sure I could have Googled it, and I'm sure someone had a YouTube video out there for how to do it, but you know, it's just the way I do things. I'm kind of stubborn that way. When I was a kid, I used to say all the time, "Monimu," which means by myself. So I guess that carried through to adulthood. My mom still makes fun of me for that. All right, so we got that done, and now we have this. What we're gonna do is go around and fold up. Now you can see we have our little triangle here and our little triangle here, and those are gonna get tucked around. I don't really need the triangle on this side. It will have a much cleaner line if I don't have it. I'm gonna cut that off right straight in line with the edge of this. That way, when I tuck that up, you get a much nicer line over here. Oop, but you do want to fold down this other triangle. Whatever has the triangle needs to get folded first. So I now have my 3 different ones done. So we have our 4 back scratchers. So you want to make sure your back scratchers are all the same length. That is kind of important, but you know, mine are definitely not. I have one that decided to have a growth spurt, and it is way too long, and my husband's not here, so I can have him just quickly chop that off for me. So I'm just gonna go with it. But you do want to make sure that they're all the same length. What we're gonna do is we're gonna be wrapping these with nautical rope. So I'm just gonna put a little glue at the tip here so it holds it all together, so that when I take that tape off, it won't just completely come unraveled on me. And I'm gonna start on the top of these and glue it down to the top first, and then I'm gonna go around and work my way down and cover the whole thing. Initially, to get started, I'm gonna put glue all over it, as this top part is not just so easy to wrap around. So you wanna really kind of hold that until it cools real well, and then work your way around. So what I'm gonna do, instead of putting glue, you know, on the whole thing, I'm just gonna do a couple of strips of glue here, and as I come around, that will hold it in place. And you're gonna wanna pull it pretty snug. Also do a couple lines on the back side as well, but be careful you don't touch that glue and burn yourself. You're gonna have to work kind of fast and pull it snug so that you can cover your entire back scratcher. Now, if you're not comfortable putting that much glue, which mine is drying really fast, you got to work quickly. Oh yeah, just stuck my thumb in it. Basically, work your way down until the whole thing's covered. So I usually like to paint anything that needs painting first thing in a project. I did not on this one because I didn't really realize I was even going to be using these, but my engineering husband, I asked him for a little help on this, and he gave me some great suggestions. So we are going to need 6 of these dowels, and I'm going to paint them white. Go ahead and get those painted, and then we will work on getting this thing put together. Okay, next we're going to be taking 2 of our legs and spreading them apart. Okay, yeah, sorry guys. I mean, it is what it is, right? Okay, so we're going to use one of our little shelf pieces here to make sure that they're lined up and that one is not higher than the other, and then put them apart enough to where, as I call them, like one of the little toes is sticking out past the edge of the frame. That's going to get those positioned. And then take another one of your box frames and put it up at the top to make sure that it's pretty much even in the same amount. It should be sticking out a little bit past the edge of the frame. We're going to be attaching our box frame to the legs, and this is why we need these we need to make sure that these are flush so that when our unit is standing upright, it's not tilting to one side or the other. Now that we have it positioned and we know these are where they need to be, we're going to be figuring exactly where we're going to be putting our box frame for our first one. And you're going to kind of put it down towards the bottom part of the rope. Put a good glob of glue there on each side. This is just going to be the temporary holding for this to keep it in place, because we will have something sturdier, because obviously the glue is not alone going to be enough. Hold that there and let it dry pretty well so it doesn't tip over on you. Once you feel like that one's pretty much secure, we're going to go ahead and put the top one in place. Find where you want to place the top one and place that, and then we're going to glue that in, and we're also going to be gluing in our center one. I think this time I'm actually going to put the glue on the frame itself. And at this point I'm eyeballing it, and I'm hoping that these are as straight as possible, because I can't really stand this up to make sure that my shelves are level. So do your best to make sure that they're level just by looking at it. So now that we have the back legs on there, we're going to be putting on the second set of legs, which I'm going to be putting those on the side of my shelf unit here. So we're going to be turning this on its side. This is a little hard for me to show you. I may take it to the floor. Hang on. Okay, so I moved to the floor so we can see better. All right, so we have our pieces glued on here to the two legs, and what we're going to be doing now is gluing the other legs on to the other side. Make sure that your shelves are kind of positioned where you want, because there's not going to be much adjusting after that. We're going to need to glue the top piece on first. So the most important part on this is making sure now that these legs are even. If you have something that you can use in order to make sure that those are even, that would be great, because you do want to make sure that the legs are glued in the right spot so that this isn't sitting all lopsided. So on this one, it doesn't necessarily have to stick out past the end. You can have it flush with the edge, because that's going to be this is the front of your shelving unit and this is the back side. So now you just have to make sure that the most important part is that this part here is level on the floor, and that you also have your shelf level. So I'm going to go ahead and put my hot glue directly onto my art piece here again, and then get that held into place. Make sure the other ones are all in place and glue those down as well. So we can see our shelving unit is starting to come together here. Now you're going to want to double check this again as you get your other shelf in place, because adjusting that center shelf could really throw everything off. And when you know it's in the right spot, add your hot glue and then get your last one in place. Once that cools off, switch to the other side and get that other leg glued on there. And remember, again, it's going to be the one that goes on the top. Now my sticks here are a little bit, I don't know if you can see it, it's a little bit bowed, so I'm having to kind of press it down in order to get it to stick well. So it's looking really cute so far, but I'm still holding this, but because my piece bowed, it's really wanting to pull away from that hot glue. So now is the time where I'm going to use some of my extra rope and get this tied together. So what I'm going to be doing is helping this along by adding my rope just below it. So I'm going to take my rope, this is what I did on the top side here. I'm going to take my nautical rope and go underneath the shelf, and I'm cutting a piece that's long enough that it's going to be overlapping itself and being able to twist on itself. This way you don't have to tie any knots or anything to hold it in place. So once you know your rope piece is long enough, go ahead and put a little hot glue here on the side to secure this piece so it doesn't slide down. And then do the same on the other side. And then what I'm going to be doing is kind of wrapping this around as if you're about to tie a knot, and put a little glue in there to hold it, and then continue wrapping it around so that eventually it's like that, but nice and tight, and it will hold up the shelf. Once it's wrapped around and glued, then you can go ahead and cut this extra piece off here, because you're going to need to do the last section here. So this video was kind of a request, not specifically for this, but the request was to make something with these back scratchers. So this is what I came up with. That would be, you know, my own little unique twist. So hopefully you guys like it. If you're liking my channel, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Do it right now before you forget. Also, if you want to see more projects, don't forget to subscribe. Okay, so here's the front of our shelf right now. So we're gonna go back to our dowels that we had, and we're gonna be doing a crisscross to hold this so that it doesn't teeter back and forth. So we're gonna go to the back side and we're gonna be doing a crisscross here from there, and then with the other dowel going that way, because we wanna make sure that this doesn't wobble. So these dowels are pretty easy to cut, but I especially like the garden shears from Dollar Tree because they have this little divot here that makes it easier to cut just where you want it. So figure out your length from your inside corner here, because we're not only going to be gluing it to here, but we're also going to be gluing it to the side of the rope leg. So you're going to want to make sure that that's kind of pressed in there up against the rope so it's not sliding upwards, not only because the glue is holding it in place, but also because it's pressing against this rope. Get that glued in there. Then we're going to do the same thing on this bottom corner and get that glued in. Then we're going to be cutting another piece and doing the exact same thing the opposing way and get that attached. So this also needs to be not only attached here to the shelf, but it also needs to be attached, these two dowels need to be attached to each other as well. So once we get the crisscross in, we're going to be gluing the dowel together to the other dowel. All right, we're gonna work on doing the same thing on the sides. Oh my goodness, guys, you ready to see this? It turned out even cuter than I thought it would. All right, hang on, let's check it out.